Here's another example of given a 0, find the remaining zeros. And we're going to do this through synthetic division and factoring. After we've done that, we're going to go ahead and graph the function using our x and y intercepts. So our example here is verify x equals 1 is a 0 of the function. Use division and factoring to find the other zeros. So in order to verify that x equals 1 is a 0, we want to know, is it an x-intercept? So if it is an x-intercept, then it is 1, 0. Meaning if I plug in 1 to my function, it equals 0. So if I go ahead and do that, I have f of 1 equals 2 times 1 cubed minus 5 times 1 squared plus 1 plus 2. So I get f of 1 is equal to 2 times 1, which is 2, 5 times 1, which is 5, plus 1 plus 2. So 2 minus 5 is negative 3, plus 1 is going to be negative 2, plus 2 is 0. So this is a 0 of the. Now that we've verified that x equals 1 is a 0, we want to go ahead and divide that out. So I'm going to use synthetic division. So I have 1, and then my function is 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus x plus 2. So I'm going to use my coefficients to do synthetic division. So I have 2, negative 5, 1, and 2. So I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Add them together, I get negative 3. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Add them together, I get negative 2. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2, leaving me with a remainder of 0, which I know should happen because 1 is a 0 of the function. So now I take this and I have a new function I can go ahead and find the zeros of. So I have 2x squared minus 3x minus 2, and I want to find when this is equal to 0 to find my other zeros. In order to do that, I'm going to have to factor. And I'm factoring here with a lead coefficient. So I take my first and last terms, and I'm going to multiply those together. So I have 2 times negative 2, which is negative 4. And I want to multiply to negative 4, but add to negative 3. So I've got two options that multiply to 4. I have 1 and 4, and I have 2 and 2. So I can use 4 and 1 to get to 3, and in order to get to negative 3, I have to have a positive 1 and a negative 4. And it doesn't matter which order I have those in. These are both going to get an x, and they're going to replace my middle term. So I'm going to bring down my outside terms. I have 2x squared and minus 2, and I'm going to replace my middle x with my two new numbers here. So plus 1x and minus 4x. Since they add up to that negative 3x, they can replace it. I now want to factor by grouping. So 2x squared and 1x have an x in common. I'm left with 2x plus 1, which means I know I should have a 2x plus 1 here as well when I factor out their common term. And they both have a negative 2 in common, so if I factor that out, I'm left with x minus 2 times 2x plus 1. And since I'm trying to find my zeros, if I set both factors equal to 0, I get x is equal to positive 2 and x is equal to negative 1/2. So if I want to now go ahead and graph this, since I found my other zeros are 2 and negative 1/2. This is degree, my function here is degree 3, so I know I should have 3 zeros. And I started with one of them, which was x equals 1. Then I found x equals 2 and x equals -1/2. So I can go ahead and graph that, or at least plot those points. And when I plot those points, I have 1, 2, and -1/2. It's a positive function, so I know I'm going to start down and positive. But I also need to, since I'm using all my intercepts, have my x-intercepts and my y-intercepts. So to go ahead and find my y-intercepts, I need to plug in 0 for my x's to figure out what y is going to be. So to do that, I'm going to have to write my equation, and my equation is going to come from my factors here that I found and the first 0 that I started with. And since I started with x equals 1 as a factor, that's x minus 1. So I have x minus 1, x minus 2, and 2x plus 1. So to go ahead and find what my y-intercept is, I have to go ahead and plug in 0 for x. So if I have 0 minus 1, 0 minus 2, 2 times 0 plus 1, I end up getting -1 times -2 times 1. So my y-intercept, I'm going to bring it up here to the top, is going to be -2 times -1, which is 2, times 1, which is 2. So I have 0, 2 as my y-intercept. So my y-intercept is going to be up here at 2. So if I go ahead and draw this, it's of degree 3, so it should be a cubic. So I start down, I come up, back down, and then finish in the positive direction. So this would be my sketch of this polynomial here.